Holy cow. Rise of Kingdoms is not going to be the same in 2022. Wow. What changes are coming in 2022 that are going to change the landscape of Rise of Kingdoms? Well, the main mode that a lot of people are, play this game for, which is KVK, is getting a little bit of an overhaul. We have some, not even really leaks. These are official. These are straight from Lilith. These are in the game now. We are just going to bring them to you on the channel and bring them to the community. So without further ado, let's take a look at what Rise of Kingdoms is going to look like in 2022. Okay, so first off, I just want to apologize to my buddy PJ and Mr. Music. I wanted to just clip what I did just on stream, but it wasn't flowing for me. I didn't like the flow of the video, so I'm just reshooting it now. We're gonna go through this new world of alliances. Man, my mind has been blown. So we just hopped off stream. We were going through this with some people on chat. Shout out to PJ. He's the one who really sent me some of these initial images, and then we just went through them. So without further ado, let's check out World of Alliances, which is totally going to change the scope of how Rise of Kingdoms is played in 2022. It's going to change Osiris League. It's going to change KVK formats. It's going to change Kingdom formats. It's going to change all of that. We're going to give you our thoughts and opinions as we go through the rules. So World of Alliances, and this account is in 245, just so you guys know, for your knowledge. So they are going to be some of the first people to experience this in about 14 days. All alliances will select standalone Season of Conquest stories so that kingdom members can battle in different lost kingdoms. Juicy. World of Alliance rules, point number 1, or registration rules. Point number 1, the alliance leader holds the power to pick a story and register at the start of this event, which will sign up all alliance members to that story. So the stories being Strife of the Eight, Heroic Anthem, March of the Ages, I'm assuming is probably still in here somewhere, and then whatever other KVK modes that we are going to be getting access to. Point 2, the leader must have a level 25 city hall, and the alliance must possess no fewer than 10 members to register for a story. Cool. The leader can withdraw and re-register for another story during the registration phase, but can no longer do so once the registration phase ends. Makes sense. 4. During the registration phase, joining a new alliance will automatically register governors to the story the alliance has matched to, and leaving the alliance will automatically withdraw your story registration. Governors won't be able to register for a story if they are not an alliance at the end of the registration phase. So if your alliance registers, but the registration phase has not ended yet, and you have not been selected into that KVK, and you leave the alliance, you are good. Kind of. But you need to be back in your alliance when the registration ends, otherwise you're going to miss out on that KVK with your alliance. Okay, there's no longer such thing now, from what it looks like, of, you don't have to jump fully into a KVK with your entire kingdom. We're going to talk about some of the benefits to that a little bit later as we go through more of these points. Registration phase, step 1, or point 1. Kingdoms will have one Season of Conquest registration phase in which to express interest during the event period. So I'm very curious as to, does this mean we are only getting one registration phase? Are we not going to have those 4 pop-ups? From what it sounds like, we are only going to have one registration phase. So after you get out of KVK, you have that break. As soon as that registration pops up, you are going to need to register. And I'm going to kind of explain why in like a step or two. Point 2, if an alliance unsuccessfully attempts registration for the phase, then that alliance must wait until all other alliances in the kingdom have finished their Lost Kingdom events before this alliance can register for subsequent events. So this kind of explains it right here. I'm in 780. B&D is our number 1 alliance. N7S is our number 2 alliance. If B&D registers for the Heroic Anthem that we are now in, but N7s does not, then we are then essentially skipping an entire KVK season. Entire KVK season. That's how I am reading this. You must wait until the alliance that is within your kingdom is done with their Lost Kingdom events before you can then register. Interesting. I think you actually might be able to stagger your registrations a little bit, but it's going to be weird. The staggering of it is something that I'm not too sure about. Matchmaking modes. Number 1, normal mode. If you select the same story as the king, then you will certainly be placed in the same Lost Kingdom. Number 2, you can also pick a random mode. Even if you select the same story as the king, you may still be placed in different Lost Kingdoms. So I think this is pretty much telling you. And then this third point, regardless of the matchmaking mode selected by the alliance leader, all governors that come from the same kingdom and are matched to the same Lost Kingdom will certainly be allocated to the one faction. So I think this is pretty much just telling you a little bit more clarification that you can choose to select a different Lost Kingdom than your king. But if you end up going into the same Lost Kingdom, you are going to be part of the same coalition or the same faction. I just want to pause right here because I just had the thought, how are king buffs going to work now? What if you are a group of alliances that form a camp and you guys don't have a king within your camp? You don't get king buffs. Another point that was made to from my buddy PJ, what happens to holy site buffs? What happens to titles? A lot of that needs a little bit further clarification and maybe some reworking now. Moving on, alliance management. Point 1, governors cannot join an alliance which has been matched to a different Lost Kingdom. However, those in their home kingdom can still join alliances that have not yet registered for a story. So if B&D registers for Heroic Anthem and N7S does not, then I cannot join B&D until B&D is out of the home kingdom. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty clear and cut, understandable to understand. Point 2, governors who have already embarked on a Lost Kingdom event cannot join an alliance currently involved in the registering or matchmaking process. Governors currently finding a Lost Kingdom match cannot create alliances or transfer leadership. Which makes sense because I feel like it would throw a lot of that stuff off of your transferring leaderships and whatnot, because those are the people who are going to be registering you. 3, you can view the Lost Kingdom that you have been matched to from the World of Alliance event page or the Kingdom overview page. Cool. This is where it gets juicy. Others, Alliance events. Buckle in, guys. Buckle in. This is huge. This is where Rise of Kingdoms now changes in 2022. All right. Once the matchmaking process has completed, governors will then be unable to join an alliance matched to a different Lost Kingdom than you. Yes, we've already stated that. Governors should be aware of the potential for alliance events to clash with story registrations and strategically plan Ark of Osiris, Osiris League, and other events. So I literally just said on my stream, and if you did not catch the stream, I'm going to leave the card up in here for you, as B&D just handily won and advanced into the final stage of the knockout round of Osiris League. So during the stream, I had mentioned that, or actually my buddy PJ had made the point. No, I'm sorry. Who was it? Actually, it was Skywalker OG from 916. He popped in. Their opponent did not show up because they were working on their current migration during their off season of KVK. People's hospitals were filled, so that way they were able to bring more migrants in. That means that their opponent for the knockout stages did not show up for the Osiris League match. That's when I said, well, there needs to be a change to this, because Lilith is really shooting themselves in the foot when they have something very nice as in terms of an Osiris League type game mode, but you're held back by the thing that most players look forward to, which is KVK. And then my buddy PJ said that his alliance had just got booted from Osiris League. They lost. Well, that was because they just exited KVK and they are still recuperating. Well, now, if you are an Osiris League alliance, you can just skip a KVK altogether. If you know Osiris League is coming up and you really want to plan for that, but your kingdom may not have the same view as you and they want to dominate KVKs, but they don't really care about Osiris Leagues. But you can now take those 40 players and put them in an alliance that is not going to be registering with the king or in a normal mode or with anyone else. You're not going to be affecting matchmakings anymore, people. Matchmakings of kingdoms are no longer a thing from what it seems like. It seems like, yes, you are still going to have your Imperium kingdoms and whatnot, but the matchmakings have now just, restrictions have now just been alleviated tenfold. So if B&D wants to go and fight in a big boy Imperium KVK, we can front load that entire alliance with all of our 100 million power plus players. If N7S wants to partake in a B-seeded KVK, then we can put a few whales in there and fill it up with more free-to-play players. The potential for this, I think, is now limitless. This is a huge change to Rise of Kingdoms, people. This is going to change so much, in my opinion. Initial digestions. This is only my second time of reading through these rules. Initial digestions is this is going to change Rise of Kingdoms for the better, and it's going to change it completely. Let's continue. Lost Kingdom. During the event period, Alliance members who have successfully finished the matchmaking process will only be able to take part in KVK events with other governors also matched to the same Lost Kingdom. Furthermore, camp rankings will be displayed instead of kingdom rankings during the EVE event crusade. Makes sense because you're not going to have kingdoms. Well, you will have kingdoms are still going to be registering together, don't get me wrong, but you're going to see, and my buddy PJ put it best, this adds so much more freedom for individual players and alliances. You're not now tied to whatever the king wants to do. Okay, this kind of helps in situations where you may have those dictator kings and you just can't escape the kingdom because you're low on passports. Well, now if you're an R5 of an alliance, you can kind of just do your own thing. There are some other benefits too. Stick around, I'm going to go over some of those really juicy benefits in terms of kingdom management. We're almost done. Coalition capacity. A coalition's upper limit of alliance members will be expanded, increasing gradually from 5 to 20 during the event. This makes sense because you're going to just have a bunch of different alliances from different kingdoms jumping in and joining each other. The opportunities that we're going to have are so limitless. This sounds so fun. Moving on, subsequent seasons. After the registration phase has concluded, subsequent season of conquest will return to the kingdom registration system. If there are still alliances within a kingdom that have been successfully matched to a Lost Kingdom event that is still ongoing, then the next round of season of conquest can only begin once all alliances in this kingdom have ended their current season of conquest and returned to their home kingdom. This right here is going to solve MGE violators, point violators, trollers, rule breakers. If you don't want to play along to the kingdom's rules, if you don't want to play along to the alliance's rules, well, guess what? You're going to get booted and you're just going to miss out on KVKs entirely. There are so many things that Lilith is fixing with this update. I love this so much. You're just going to have so much more flexibility from an alliance and an individual standpoint, where if you don't want to, if you're sick of being in an A-ranked kingdom, and this is kind of going to help our situation in 780 because we have simply not been able to drop enough power to avoid being matched up with all of these Imperium kingdoms. So now what we can do, if we so choose to, is we do kind of have to split up a little bit, but alliances can now just go separate ways, or if we want to distribute more of our powers amongst more of the alliances that we have, and we can do so as well. And now again, although we're going to be kind of separated a little bit, we will then be able to enjoy B-seeded KVKs, C-seeded KVKs. If you want a really light KVK, you can go to a D-seeded KVK. You only need 10 players to register for for a KVK. So that might turn into an issue right there a little bit. I mean, you're going to have a lot of like really small and weak KVKs. I think that may come from this. That might be an issue. I don't know of any other issues that are coming to mind, but there's definitely going to be some. If you guys see any issues with this, please drop a comment down below. And if you guys like anything about this, please also drop a comment down below, because this is huge. I'm going to end up probably just keep ranting, so I'm going to end the video there. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this is huge. This is changing Rise of Kingdoms for the better so far at surface, at face value. For me, this is changing it for the better. Again, some benefits. You're going to not have to worry about kingdom groupings anymore. You're going to have a little bit more flexibility in terms of the KVKs that you're going to pick. I can finally play a Strife of the 8 finally. Trollers, MGE, point violators, beware. Dead weight in alliances and kingdoms, beware, because you will just get booted and you will be excluded from KVKs entirely. So if you're one of those players who's been talked to and you haven't changed your ways, you may want to start rethinking that. There's so much to digest here. I think that we need to talk about this more and more. If you guys really want to, please join the Discord down below. That is my Discord. We can start discussing on chat. There's going to be more coming on this, definitely, guys. This is huge. This is for the better of Rise of Kingdoms, at least I think initially right now. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, please consider slapping like and subscribing down below. As always, much love, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm out. Peace.